All right, everyone. This is a tutorial on how to um, make your final rectilinear composition. Under your name, under your cohort, you should have folders that look like this. I just added a new folder and titled it Final Composition. This is where I'm going to keep my final composition. I have a new file here. I'm going to save it as Final Composition. And in order to include all of the different joints, all you have to do is drag them on to the surface of the file that you're working on. I'm going to click on my butt joint. Here's my butt joint. I'm going to click and hold and drag it into the screen. We have our butt joint. It's just going to ask us where we want to place it. It doesn't matter for now. You can unclick this or click it. I'll show you how to get rid of it afterwards. And you can see it inherited all the things that we did on a separate file, including this drawing. So I'm going to turn off the sketches. I'll go back to my main folder and do the same thing with the rest of the joints. Here's my miter joint. Just going to drag it onto the screen. And again, doesn't really matter where I put it. And the last one is the rabbit joint. Drag it onto the screen, and let's place it here. Okay. I'm going to close this window. And here on your tree, this is why I had you label all of your joints, all the components. It's not going to let you move them if it's ground to parent, that little box that we saw earlier. I'm going to right click and use the unground from parent command. There we go. Now we'll be able to move it. The other thing you want to do is right click and press break link. And you want to do this for all of them. Right click, break link. Right click, break link. The thing I'm going to do is I'm going to turn off the sketches and the origin points for all of my components. Okay, that's good. So you have your maquette or sketch, 3D sketch, whatever you 3D printed of what your model looks like. So now all I have to do is go to my functions tab and change these parameters to try to match what your 3D print is. Since I don't have any of that, I'm just going to change them randomly. For the miters, I'm going to go 6 by 6 by 6. I see something happen, then I'll explain it later. For the butt joint, I'm going to make this one longer. Let's say 16 by 7 by 4. Okay, that'll work. And then for the rabbit joint, I'm going to make that one a bit longer. The length will be, let's say, 12. Let's make this 3 by 2. Okay. So I'm not following the parameters of the assignment. I'm just doing this so you can get an idea on how to make your final composition. So here we have a problem. We see here that our our C piece has detached from the rest of our miter joint box. To fix that, we simply, this is a new command, it's under Assemble, the Assemble tab, and it is called, oh, I'm sorry, it's under the Modify tab, and it's called Align. And if you read the information, it says that you can match the face of one body to another and link it that way. So I'm going to press on the Align command. Make sure it's under bodies, not components. It's going to ask me which body do I want to move, and I want to move this body. Now you can click on almost any place, but what I'm going to do is click here in the center. It's going to highlight, and then for the second one, I want it to remain here right in the center. And I'll press OK, and that's it. So now if we change our parameters for the miter, let's say I want it to be the length to be 8, it'll move with it. And say it's 2, should work the same way. And go back to 6. That's OK. So now you want to look at your sketch model and try to mimic it as much as possible. I'm gonna start moving things around. Again, I'm not following necessarily the guidelines of the assignment. I'm just doing this so you can understand how to manage your composition. Under the move command, which is under modify, I'm going to press component. I want to move a component. I'm going to move this one, and I'm going to decide to pierce it. I'm going to use the rabbit joint box to pierce the butt joint box, like so. You can press ground capture position or not. I'm going to show you how to fix that afterwards. So if you forget to press capture position, a little, I don't even know what this, a little L, upside down L will show up under the new positions tab. And I'm just going to click on capture position. And let's move this miter box. I'm going to press the move tool under modify and make sure it's under component. And let's move this somewhere. Let's wedge this. Capture position. If you don't click it, a positions tab will open up and you can select capture position. So now I do want to know exactly where my holes are in order to be able to cut them. So now we're going to do something is that we're going to cut into the butt joint box using the other boxes or volumes as a cutting tool. And to do that, we're going to learn a new command under the modify tool. It's called split body, and this is what it looks like, the box with a line through it. And it's going to ask us, which bodies do you want to split? I'm going to choose this body and this body, because that's what we're going to need to cut. Then it's going to ask me, what splitting tools do you want to use? And I know that I need to, oh, it's only selecting faces. So I'm going to go, I know this is my rabbit joint. I'm going to go in the tree tab under the rabbit joint, under the bodies. and choose the bodies that I want to split with. It should be just these four, and press OK. Now, if we turn off our rabbet joint, we'll have cuts in these two uh, pieces of wood. So I'm going to close the bodies folder under the rabbet joint. And still off, I'm going to go under my butt joint and open up the bodies folder. So here now we have a lot more bodies. We don't need these, and we're not going to use them. So I'm going to click. You can either click on the surface of the extra bodies and press V, and that'll hide it. The other way you can do it is you can scroll on here and it will highlight the body that you want to hide. So here, and just press the little icon. So you can do it either way, but we need to get rid of these. And now if we turn on our rabbet joint box, it fits right in there. Now, what I would recommend is, to save yourself a lot of trouble, is to try to make the distance from here and here something manageable. Like 1.466 is going to be difficult to measure. So what I'm going to do is let's make this 1.5. So I'm going to go under my timeline, go back before cutting anything, turn my bodies on, and we're going to move this so it's 1.5. So right now, let's see, it is 1.44, so I need to move it 0.044 down. So I'm gonna exit the inspect tool. It's just the ruler. It's how you measure, and you can measure from surface to surface, and that'll give you that exact distance. I'm gonna press exit or close to get out of the inspect tool, and I'm gonna move my box, my rabbet joint box, under the modify tab. Make sure it's under components. I'm going to click on this component, press the arrow up, and here we just input 0.044. And actually that needs to move down. So I'm going to make this negative. Capture position. Okay. So now hopefully it reads 1.5 inches. Oh, 1.1, 1.51. Okay, so we moved it a little too much. I'm gonna move it back, exit the inspection tool. I'm gonna move my component up 0.001, a thousandth of an inch. And now it should read 1.5 inches. Nope. Okay. That means I went the wrong way. I need to add, not subtract. So I'm gonna go back. Or you can press revert position and let's see where it is now. Okay, so it means I have to go up 0.01, not 1,000th of an inch. Okay, let's move this up 0.01. Okay, capture position. Let's see if that did the trick. Yep, and that'll make it easier when it comes to cutting all of these parts. Um, okay, great. So do that for the rest of these positions, um, whatever makes it easier for you. And now we're going to cut into our butt joint box using the miter box. But let's move the timestamp forward and make sure that the rabbet joint is cut and these bodies are not visible. Okay, everything's good so far. So now we do the same thing with the miter box. I'm going to use the split body command in the modified tab. Which faces or which bodies do I want to split? This time I'm going to choose these three faces and then click on splitting tools. And for the splitting tools, um, I think you can click, yeah, you can click on just the surfaces. Oh, let's see. I think we have to click on the bodies as well. So let's see this one. Yes. This one. Yes. Nope. Yes. Yes. Nope. Actually, it's not necessary. Let's see. Is that enough? Yeah, that's it. Okay. And press OK. I am going to turn off my miter joint and again make these invisible by clicking on them and pressing V. There we go. I'm going to turn on the miter joint box again. And now we have our composition with the necessary cuts. I'm going to save this. So now we have to do a couple of things. First, since this is the composition we're going to work with, and we need drawings to be able to refer to all of these distances and these measurements. I'm going to create an isometric drawing, and that's the same thing that we've been doing, um, except it'll be the full composition. So I'm going to go under the Files tab and go to New Drawing from Design. And here, you're going to have a couple of options. Under Reference, select Visible Only. That way, the parts that we don't need don't show up. Create New Drawing. Yes. From scratch. Yes. And under Size Sheet, let's choose Size B so it's just easy to read. And the width should be 17, the height 11. And I like this landscape orientation. I'm going to press OK. So it's going to take us to our drawing tab, which you should be familiar with. And I think for this specific part, the most useful one would be the right view. I'm going to make this a little bigger. Scale is 1 to 5. And let's see what shaded looks like. Yeah, that works. Now, after you, let's say that you, for some reason, don't have anything show up on your drawing. And under the drawing tab here, select base view, and then you'll be able to see your part. And we'll choose the right side. And I want to see the lines. Okay, great. Now you can just move this around wherever you need to. Mm-hmm. Okay, now we're going to create the isometric drawing because we can't really tell what's going on with this composition just by one view. So I'm going to click on projected views. I'm going to click on my composition. And when you move it around, it gives you different options of projected views. I'm going to choose the top view and a side view and an isometric view. I'm going to click check mark. Now here, this is for, large projects. If you double click on this, you can change this to whatever you want to title this. Composition already has your name, so I'm going to press finish properties. And you can also alter how these look by double clicking on them. And this one is probably more helpful if it didn't have any through lines. And I think the same thing goes for this and this one. So in this type of drawing, um, you're going to have to do this by hand in your next 3D class. But for now, just understand that, for example, this line is proportional and lines up with this line, and so forth. This width is the same as this width. Now we want to get some measurements on this so we know where everything is placed. So when we look at our drawing, that our drawing sheet, that we'll be able to know all of the dimensions. So under the dimensions tab, I'm going to press dimensions. And usually you only want one measurement per side. You don't want any redundancies. But for this specific project, we are going to over dimension this just because it's easier. And what you want to do is make sure you have the size of everything wherever it's clearest, right? So, for example, this I know is a 6x6 inch miter box. I can put the measurement here and here or here. Actually, we need all three sides. So 6x6 by 6. Um, we're missing the width of the butt joint. So I'm going to put it on top. We're missing all the measurements of this rapid joint. So I'm going to dimension this here. And this is why over dimensioning this drawing helps, because we're going to know how wide everything is. And the other thing you want to do is um, dimension out the position because we're going to need it to cut into our forms. For example, from here to here, 1.5 inches. From here to here is 0.7 inches. We're also going to need the distance from here to here. And again, make your measurements whole so they're easier to manage. And we need this distance as well. So we have the dimensions for everything now. We have the 3 dimensions for our butt joint, 7 by 16 by 4. We have the dimensions for our miter joint, 6 by 6 by 6, and the dimensions for our rabbet joint, which is 12 by 3. Oh, we're missing one. So let's get it from here. We can also get it from here. So you can see that if I extend this line, it matches exactly the position of the right perspective. If it helps, you can label these right perspective, top, and front perspective, but I don't think it matters. So now we have our drawing, and we'll be able to plan out our cuts. I'm going to save this. Final composition drawing. Yes. Great. So now, just like we did with the individual boxes, we are going to save a copy of this. No, that's not it. Sorry. Save a copy of this as a cut list. And then you do the same thing. You spread everything out and plan how you're going to cut everything. So I think we have time. I'll do that with you now. Let's see. So now we're going to move bodies. I'm going to start with this big one, pull it out, and rotate it 9 degrees. And then I want this on the same plane as this one, as the floor. Okay, and I know that this is the same dimension, again, for this distance since negative 9 degrees. And I want this on the same plane. Okay. I also, let's move these. And I think these are going to be longer. Okay, so these have to be a separate rip cut. Now I move these two at the same time because you have to build all of these whole before cutting into them. So if you can imagine bodies, you'll be cutting 2 of these that are the same length. and not cutting this small part and this part. Um, I'm going to show you how to cut these so they are the same on both sides. Um, it can get a little tricky. And this dimension is what? 6 by 3. 90 degrees. And actually, this is the same. Um, so what I can do is, since these are all three, I can rip them this way. I'm going to rotate these to align with my other rips. Are these not 90 degrees? All right. And this, let's see what this length is. 11. These will all be 11, so let's move these onto their own rip. Actually, I like to see them with the routed side up. Let's move this down. Same plane. And these are going to be different thicknesses, so I can plan to rip these the long way first, like this. And I know these are the same length. Keep going. This one did not go to the correct place. And I think this is a good way to plan how you're going to cut everything, rather than just exporting a cut list, which, like I said before, you could buy an extension that'll just spit out a list and numbers. But I think this is a better way of doing. Let's see what this is. 3 inches. Oh, there's also 3 inches. This should not be the case because you shouldn't have two widths that are the same. But since for right now they are, again, I'm not following the assignment. I'm just showing you how to arrange the cut list for your final composition. Looking at it here, with this last one, oh, it's from the bottom. This one's high. Okay, and this last piece is 3 inches. Okay, 90 degrees. Flip this around to match the other 3-inch cuts. This one on. Okay. Now for our final form, this should be relatively easy because this is 6 by 6 by 6. You can fast forward through this part. I'm just going to be moving this, doing the same thing I did for the other forms. So now you'll be able to see how much material you need and the best way to cut it. Okay, I'm gonna move these around to see what makes sense. Because you're gonna buy a whole sheet, right? So this is 6 inches, this is 16, and here, here is 12. 12 plus 4 is 16. So hypothetically, we should be able to get all of these in the same cut. Remember that you have to compensate 1/8 of an inch for your cuts. Move these here. Okay, move this. Let's see what I have so far. This is 55 inches. So 55 is going to be hard to manage. So I'm going to make this wider instead. Let's move these. What happened there is that I accidentally chose to move it using this angle as the origin point. So that's why it wasn't flat. I'm going to move these here. Okay, I need bodies. That should be bodies. Okay, remember this is one piece. And to move this here, and lastly, yeah. I'm going to save this. And then start a new drawing from design. And instead of creating a new drawing, oops, I don't have to create a new drawing. Okay. And the top would be right here. Let's do this. 4, 3, 5. Great. Now we can start dimensioning um, to see what how big of a sheet we need. So for this, you could cut a 3 by 3. You could buy 3 by 3 MDF sheet and have everything cut. If it helps as well, you can dimension out your parts. And these distances would probably be helpful, more clear. I want this distance. Here to this distance. Let's put it. Of this, it's just more visible. We know these are 6 by 6, but let's dimension them anyway. These are going to be different dimensions. That's helpful. To know what they are, and we know that these are all 3, but these widths are going to be different. So there you have it. You have a cut list with dimensions, and it looks like we're going to need a 3 by 3 foot sheet of MDF. I'm going to save this. Yes, as a cut list. And that's it. So now we have our 2 drawings, the drawings for composition and drawings for our cut list. Now you can start building your form or your final composition.